They will speak on the International Token Reference and ITSA Tokenbase. ITSA stands for International Token Standardization Association, an association you might have stumbled upon if you have been following the CAC frequently. And for that presentation, I would like to welcome Doug Au from WM Data Services and Christian Viehhof from the ITSA on the stage. Hey.
Okay, hi everyone, and I'm very happy to see you all and also everyone in the digital room to tune in. Thanks so much. Doug, my name is Doug, this is Christian. We are very happy to present you today our new product, which is called International Token Reference, or in short, ITR. And maybe just a few sentences. My name is Doug. I'm very happy because I work in a very unique position for the family shareholders of the WM Gruppe and hence WM Data Service. And we deal a lot with digital assets and new innovations for the financial services industry. And yeah, right now I would like to hand over to Christian because he starts the first part of the presentation. Afterwards, I will continue with WM.
Thank you, Doug. So let's start with who we are and what we do. ITSA, short for International Token Standardization Association, is a Berlin-based non-for-profit association with, at this moment, roughly 250 members. We have different kind of members, token projects like Quant, MakerDAO, or Nexo, but apart from that, certainly also many universities, research institutes, DAX 30 companies, basically everybody who's interested in market standards. And at the heart of ITSA, we promote 3 market standards. The first one would be the ITIN, it's International Token Identification Number, which is very similar to the ISIN, just not for securities, but for tokens. And then second, we have the International Token Classification Framework, a token taxonomy framework where we group tokens according to their characteristics. May it be a payment token, a utility token, does it hold certain rights? And then last, what we have is our database called Tokenbase, where we essentially combine the identification and the classification data from the ITIN and the ITC, and then we make it publicly available. Yeah, here just a quick list of selected members. As I just mentioned, quite some token projects, Swarm, also one more. DLA Piper, I think, was a very interesting collaboration we did in last year, which basically connected via our API also with the Tokenbase. And they have been issuing a lot of security tokens, so tokenized equity and debt. And for each of their security tokens, they have been assigning one of our ITINs. Now, to our identifier, I hope this is interesting to all of you guys, because I think this is very nice to understand on how to differentiate different kind of ledgers, or let's say blockchains. Let's start on the very left. We have there essentially like an example with Bitcoin and Litecoin. At the very top, we have the Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 122. The BIP 122 was basically, it passed because back then there was a lot of Bitcoin forks out there, and it was very difficult to reference individual blockchains. And with the Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 122, it was decided that essentially the genesis hash of each individual blockchain would be a very good feature to differentiate the different blockchains. And as we can see here on the blockchain layer, we have Bitcoin with the Bitcoin genesis hash, essentially the first hash of the Bitcoin blockchain, and on the right from Litecoin also the genesis hash. And this is like a very easy examples because essentially the source code of both protocols is almost identical. However, as we all know, Bitcoin and Litecoin are two very different tokens, and therefore they both require an ITIN. And then the second example, I think the more relevant one also at the moment, especially when we always talk about a multi-chain future, how do we have to adapt to multi-chain future? Well, when back then there was the DAO hack, Ethereum was splitting into Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Vitalik Buterin was aware that this might have some bad implications also for the Ethereum blockchain. And back then he decided, well, now that we have more than just one Ethereum blockchain, we need to differentiate those as well. And for that reason, they introduced something called chain ID. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but there's a website called chainlist.org, so that if you, for example, use MetaMask, you can very easily add different ledgers to your MetaMask, and it also basically does it via the chain ID. And the example here essentially shows that wrapped Ethereum is Ethereum in the ERC20 format. You can not only find it on the Ethereum mainnet, but you can also find it on Optimism, Arbitrum, on basically any type of EVM chain. And as you can see, it can become quite confusing, let's say, if you are operating on many different blockchains, because there's just not one wrapped Ethereum token. There's also more than 5. I would imagine that there's probably like 20, 30, 40, and then you can guess it gets quite confusing. And each of those wrapped Ethereum tokens essentially with us gets an ITIN. Our standard that we have been promoting recently is called the Chain Agnostic Improvement Proposal. You can also just look that up on Google. It's an open source standard with a GitHub repository, also jointly developed with Wallet Connect. And a classification, or let's say identification of a token, in this case it's a CryptoKitties NFT, would look like this. We would first start with the protocol, or let's say the ecosystem. In this case we have EIP 155 for any type of EVM chain. Then next we would have to figure out, okay, what blockchain are we actually looking at? In this case it's the Ethereum mainnet, therefore we would have to choose the one as chain ID. Next would be the asset namespace. ERC20 is mostly for fungible tokens. In this case we have a non-fungible token, therefore ERC271. Next, the asset reference, which mainly refers to the smart contract address. And now this is basically like an edge case to add something on top. We have a multi-token contract, so one contract that holds 2 million NFTs. And then what we would need additionally is also the token ID to clearly reference one specific NFT in the smart contract. And yeah, at the end, we have like this long type of identifier, and this is basically the underlying also for the ITIN to clearly reference tokens. And next to the ITIN, as I also said before, we have also the ITC's International Token Classification Framework, where we group tokens according to their characteristics. We have now here 4 different dimensions: economic dimensions, regulatory, legal, and technological. The 6 of them have been already used over the past 2 years. 4 have been added now. So now we not only ask, is it maybe like a payment or utility token, or what industry it's coming from, but also the maximum supply. I think this is something that has been quite relevant also in the recent past, because with Ethereum, I think it's a very nice example. It was for very long inflationary, because proof of work created a certain type of inflation. There's a burn of the base fee, a deflationary force. Now we moved away from proof of stake to proof of work, from proof of work to proof of stake. Inflation went down, and now Ethereum is a deflationary token. Next, also mode of origination. Where does the token originate from? Could be a wrapping process like we saw before. There could be an ICO. There could be a farming reward, a mining reward, an airdrop. This dimension basically covers that. And then regulatory MiCA was also already part of the ITC in the past 2 years, but what's now also new is certainly taxation. For taxation, we have been following the OECD standards. There has been already like 2 or 3 papers covering that topic. Essentially, it replicates the Ripple case, where some people argue, well, it's a security. Other people say, well, it's a true cryptocurrency. And the OECD basically also differentiates only between these 2 categories: true cryptocurrencies or like conventional asset tokens. And then last, what we also did for the technological dimensions, we added the consensus mechanism. I think this has also become quite relevant over the past 2 years, because there have been a lot of novelties. BFT has become a big thing. Proof of stake has basically also been established as the incumbent. And yeah, basically there we also covered all of those technological differences according to the consensus. And yeah, here would be like a quick screenshot from our database. You can exit this via api.itsa.global. And if you would open the Bitcoin entry, you would basically receive this site here. And as we can see, Bitcoin is an unpegged payment token because it's floating in its value for payment service and infrastructure. It's a native token, so not managed by a smart contract. There's no claim to it towards a third party. issued by the protocol itself, so there's no entity behind Bitcoin, and last, other in scope crypto asset in regard to Mika. And yeah, this is my last slide, then I will hand over to Doug. Basically, the Tokenbase UI is openly accessible, as I just said. You can just visit the website. We have currently roughly 12,000 items assigned, over 800 tokens fully classified. I think another 200 will be added in the next 1 or 2 months. And you can download our data basically in different kind of files, could be CLS or CSV or also JSON. We have an API access for our members so that you can basically read and write in the database, so you can also assign items yourself. The front end, as I just said, openly accessible, and in case you're not a member but you would still like to assign an item, you can just very easily use the item assignment form. It's right in the middle, and yeah, now I hand over to Doug. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Christian. And now I will take over and talk about more in detail about the International Token Reference. So to start with, I want to give a short introduction about the company. So VM Datenservice has been a very reliable partner of the financial services industry for over 75 years right now, or almost 75 years right now. And what we do is we are one of the leading information service providers on the market or in the financial industry. And we provide data solutions, integrate data, and also information along the whole value chain or customer chain or process chain. And we do that because we have a very big global financial database, which we can use for our customers. So as you can see on the slide, we have lots of financial data, mapping of the financial instruments, complete mapping. We also provide uniform data designations and also classifications. And one of our key roles is the key information or the provision of identifiers such as WKN in German, it's the Wertpapierkennnummer, but also the English equivalent or international equivalent, the ISIN, and the legal entity identifier, just to mention a few. And one of our very USPs is the data on the tax assessments, which is very important for our B2B clients. And now that you understand the nature of our business, then you might imagine that this comes along with some further responsibilities. I just have a few of them here listed. So first of all, we operate on a national and international level to work together with committees and associations, but also with national participants and regulators to standardize and to structure the data landscape, I would say. So this is one of our very big topics to do at VM Datenservice. Since this is CAC and we're talking about digital assets, it's very important to mention that, of course, we have been a very reliable partner for the traditional finance, but we are fully aware that the digital assets are coming or already has come, and that's already taking a big part in our lives and also in the financial services industry. And this is exactly what I want to emphasize, that we are fully aware of that, and we support this development, I would say. And our view on the market is that we do believe, and we stand behind it, that crypto assets or digital assets will experience widespread adoption at some point in time. And this also implies that we truly believe that blockchain-based business models on DeFi or CeFi side will establish and have a long-standing life. And at CAC, we can see lots of very good businesses working, so this is proof enough, I would say. And also, we are looking forward to the regulation, and we do believe that there's a good balance of regulation and innovation possible within the EU, so that we have legal certainty for all parties involved. So this is like the view on the markets. But of course, if you know VM Datenservice or VM Gruppe itself, then you know that in our DNA is that we pay a lot of attention to our customers and listen to them very carefully. So what we do, or what we perceive, is that retail and especially institutional customers are gradually demanding digital assets. And banks, financial institutions, brokers, so they want to provide services in context with digital assets to their private customers or institutional customers. And also we perceive that our clients, we have like over 1,000 stakeholders that we deliver data or financial data for their daily operations. They asked us for crypto-based information or data. So this is something that we are fully aware of and that we want to pay attention to. Before I jump into our joint product with the ITSA, let me stress one more thing. If you take a look at the digital asset, then you have to distinguish between two information levels. So this is like the so-called asset-specific data level, and the second one is the token-specific data level. And to start with, if you look at the asset-specific one, you see like the classic information that you might already know, like the Wertpapierkennnummer number, the ISIN. There's something called the Enhanced Financial Instruments Classification, the EFIC, which is very important for our clients, but also like descriptive reference data of financial instruments when you want to invest in something and you look for further information, which is very important. So let me say this is like the old way, or this is like the traditional finance. And now on the other hand, we have the new world, the token-specific data, for example, information regarding the ledger. So which ledger type is it? What's the name? Is it Bitcoin, Ethereum? So the ledger name. Also, we have like the hash algorithm, for example, the SHA-652, which is used by the Bitcoin, or also the consensus mechanism, as Christian already mentioned. So like proof of work or proof of stake, which is very important when you want to provide services in the digital assets space, and your clients are fully aware of that and want to know if something is sustainable or not sustainable. So this definitely makes sense. And on the other side, we have information regarding the token itself. So this could be like the token type, and also like the generation mechanism. For example, is it a ERC20, or do we have ERC721, which identifies it as an NFT? So all these are very important information you need to provide when engaging in digital assets business. And as you can see or indicated here on the slide, we are a VM Datenservice, so we have the asset-specific data. ITSA is a very innovative company or non-profit organization. They have the token-specific data, and what we do is that we marry both worlds to create a new product which is perfect for everyone who's seeking to work in this business. Now, I know it was a little bit theoretical, but let's take a look at the example. I took Ethereum or ETH as a very simple one. As you can see, it already has a WKN and an ISIN, as you might know or might not know, but now you know. And therefore, you can also see like the different information levels. Like we have the ledger type, ledger name. You have the hash function of the ledger. It's a CAC22B, so it's not the SHA-256, very important, and many more information. So it's very important for you to have that. And this is exactly why we created a product which is called International Token Reference, or in short, ITR, because it's a very perfect data product for all the companies who want to engage in the digital business. And we, as VM Datenservice, we want to serve as a one-stop shop for all relevant financial data. So as you can see right here on the slide, if you're like a custodian bank, if you're a sales office, capital management company, or if you're a direct service provider, for instance, a transaction bank or exchange or broker, then you might already have data from us, and you can use existing technical interfaces to receive this new kind of data. So it's very nice for you because you have everything from one hand, so to say, and it's very easy for you. And also the information you get from the ITR, you can use it in your asset-based data system. So there's like no need to change something, which is very nice. And you also do not need to build interfaces to various data sources because you have everything from one hand from our product. So all in all, it's very good for you or for B2B customers because you save a lot of costs, you save a lot of time, and you might have a faster time to market when you want to engage in this kind of business. So that's in short. And this leads me to our final slide. So all in all, I want to emphasize that VM Gruppe has been a very strong partner for the financial services industry, for the traditional one. But make no mistake, we're also fully aware of the uprising of DeFi, and therefore we also strive to be a reliable partner for DeFi and all the DeFi business models. And what we did in the introductory phase, we have available 700 data sets with 54 data fields given. And also the ITR and the Tokenbase from ITSA, we already covered 90% of the digital assets market when you put that in relation to the market value of CoinMarketCap, for instance. And let me mention in my last sentence that VM Gruppe has been a very long-standing and recognized partner by the financial services industry and also by the regulators. And if you seek to have information on asset-specific data level and token-specific one, feel free to contact us. This is me, make no mistake, this is me. This is obviously, I took COVID very seriously, so this is a very old picture of me, but also approach Jürgen or come to Christian to have further information on our product. So thank you very much for your attention.
That was Duke Au from WM Data Services and Christian Viehhof from the ITSA. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on here. Thank you very much for the presentation on the holistic data services that you can gain from their cooperation. Thank you.